Hello, happy Winning Wednesday, everyone. I am so excited because today is day 2 of the Breath Codes event. So if you did not join us for day 1, the replays have already gone out and there is still time to register. So if you want to see all the replays will be available for 2 weeks and you will have access to the page of them. Um, so yesterday we talked about how your body is like your balance between regulation and but the channel, that's the word I'm trying to look for. The channel between your brain and your body is through your breath. And we talked a little bit about how staying in fight or flight mode can have a lot to do with why you're not making changes, why, like healing might not be working for you, or you're not able to manifest things. So, how you actually get into that state is you're not only bringing up your vibration, your frequency by using your breath, but you're also calming your nervous system. And that is the main thing is you have your safety zone, your comfort zone that I don't want to teach the whole class. You'll have to catch the replay, but like basically you want to stay inside your comfort zone and your safety zone so that your nervous system actually feels safe enough to hold more. That could be more love, that could be more money, that could be more success. So that is the main thing that we talked about yesterday. Today, we are going to start to align the two. So we're going to talk about how you can get into safety inside of your nervous system and how to use your breath to connect to your intuition, which is perfect because today we're actually talking about the difference between ego and intuition and the voices inside your head and how you can tell the difference between the two of them. Um, so, that being said, the email that went out on Monday, this actually is something that I say that I probably struggled with a lot at the beginning, is how to tell the difference between the two, and is also a question that tends to come up quite often with anybody that's on a growth path. Like, how do I know if I'm acting out of ego or if I'm acting from my intuition, and how can I tell the difference between the two voices? And honestly, they can sound totally the same in your head. Like, but the easiest way to differentiate between the two is how it feels in your body. And so the core difference between it, intuition is calm. Like it's always um acting in your best interest. It might be gentle, but it also might be like a truth bomb. Now, when you're acting out of ego, your ego wants something out of it, and it will tend to try to convince you. So, your intuition, again, it might be like a whisper, it might be very quiet, it might be inconvenient at times, but it always acts with a sense of neutrality. Like, this is for your best interest, this is for your highest and greatest good. Your ego might, it's going to shout at you, like it's going to show up like, this has to happen, I need to do this, should. It wants to explain and justify and control, and it wants to win. It does not want to look bad. So the driving force between the two of them, ego is run out of your survival brain. This is like basically your nervous system's protection program. It's the core motivation that, you know, it wants to control things so that it can feel safe. And it wants to keep you away from like things that feel uncomfortable, or maybe if you were to go out and do something that you might be rejected or judged. And it doesn't like that. So it fears that being wrong or like losing or failure or making mistakes, right? Intuition, on the other hand, is basically the language of being in coherence, being in alignment. And it typically comes from our highest self, our highest and greatest good. It flows through a regulated nervous system. So when your inner state, and you know, if you're able to balance your inner state, you will hear your intuition more. As you balance your inner state, your actions, the outer world, your outer reality starts to align and line up. So intuition is rooted in safety, but through trust, not control. So intuition, it doesn't have to like defend itself. It doesn't have to convince you. It just simply is. It's going to give you the little nugget, and it's going to see if you're going to follow that the wooden post signs that it's putting up for you. So how you can tell between the two is actually by checking your body's tone. So when you are acting out of ego, like things feel very tight, very urgent, very closed, embraced. Like you might feel like it in your shoulders, like, oh God, I have to do this thing. I don't want to do it, and intuition, it generally feels like open, expansiveness, grounded. Sometimes even the actions are very simple. It's just like they feel big and sometimes even boring. But your body is going to track the difference before your mind or your intellect or your reasoning ever will. So, logic does get in the way, and it's not necessarily the enemy. It's not designed to lead. And so logic, it lives in, our prefrontal cortex, our thinking, planning, analyzing brain. And yeah, it works beautifully once you already know the truth, but it builds the plan. It builds off of the inner knowing. So when you try to actually find logic or to use logic to find truth, typically we're going to override our intuition, our little subtle signals. So the nervous system reads that as, is this true? Is it, like, you start to doubt yourself? Am I making shit up? What are people going to think about me? Right? So it pumps out more of the anxiety chemistry and chemicals to try to, fix the confusion. And so you will loop between, like, what is the right answer here? Like, or I don't want to fail at this. I don't want to look stupid. And like your body in this state is going to kind of clench up tighter, and your field of vision starts to go into that foveal view, and you really cannot see any way out of this. Like there's only one way to do this, and every way else, it doesn't seem plausible. And that's not intuition. That is really your survival brain kicking in and trying to think its way out of that fear, which of course creates more fear. So when the body is calm, your prefrontal cortex, your intuitive centers of the midbrain, so that's kind of like when your pineal gland sits, they can start to work together. And so you stop the analyzing, you start to attune and align and do what you do next. Like it seems easy and effortless and in flow, and it actually really lands with people. So next time you're unsure of which voice is talking, just take a pause and scan. Like, am I feeling like my shoulders are up here, or am I contracting, or does this feel like regulating? Do I feel calm? Do I feel safe? And so if your breath slows, your shoulders drop, and you feel steadier, that's probably your intuition. But if your breath shortens, or you're like holding your breath and your mind races and your urgency builds up and your heart rate's through the roof, like that's probably ego. So intuition, it doesn't ever seem like, it's never franked it. It's never like, I have to get this done now or else, right? Like ego, it needs a reason right now. Like it's kind of comes from that, like, this is your last chance, otherwise this offer goes away, and you're like, so then you do something and then you regret it, right? When in doubt, wait for calm. Intuition doesn't disappear when you pause. but fear will disappear. So think about that. Um, so today we're actually going to talk about this a little bit more inside of the breath codes. Um, some other things that you can really think about when it comes from intuition versus ego um, is, like if your system's dysregulated, it's like it's trying to tune into like a whisper while you're standing next to a leaf blower. Like that's essentially what I equate it to. The whisper is the intuition, and so the leaf blower is the ego. And so yesterday we talked a little bit about like the amygdala and the reticular activating system and your prefrontal cortex. So ego is purely out of amygdala. So amygdala is that, it remembers everything. It has that trigger response, it equates things that are happening now to things that have happened in the past, and it's trying to find the threat. So it's survival chemistry. It needs proof, plans, and control, because control to it actually feels like safety. So the favorite words of the ego is like, should I, or I can't, or hurry up, or what if. So ego often keeps you in looping decisions, overthinking, second guessing, and it's loud because, it's scared. And so intuition, it lives in coherence. It's a quiet knowing that arrives without argument. It doesn't defend itself, it just simply is. And so its favorite words are rest, or wait, or yes, or trust. So when you're aligned, intuition sounds, it's like a thought. And then more like or a sense. Like the funny thing about the subconscious is that it does communicate in symbols. So maybe you might get an image or a pulse or a body sensation. So that's why we try to bypass the mental chatter with our breath or through our breath. So, how you can really tap into intuition more, and the more that you do it, the more it's going to show up a little bit louder, because you're actually paying attention to it. It's less of a whisper and more of a like it's going to talk, but in a normal voice. Like again, it's not going to shout at you like your ego does. But when something I taught yesterday was the 4-7-8 breath. So you do a 4-count inhale, 7-count hold, and an 8-count exhale. And you really, we're going to talk more about coherence today in the class, but you're really bringing light into your heart center as you're breathing. So as you breathe in for that 4-count, you're going to see your heart swell and glow a golden, beautiful light. And then when you exhale, you'll hold your breath and then you'll exhale that light out. So you're spreading your coherence. We're going to talk a little bit more about the coherence field as far as like HeartMath Institute. And the easiest thing to do is just take 4-count inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 7-count hold, and exhale for 8. And again, as you're taking that breath in, see your heart swelling, golden, beautiful light. Go ahead and tell your body as we're holding that we're safe. The amygdala will relax its guard, prefrontal cortex comes back in line. Quiet signals from the heart can actually reach the brain here. And then go ahead and exhale and see that light spreading throughout. Maybe throughout your body, throughout your field, your little egg-shaped aura. And then continue to do this, counting silently in your brain. But when you do this, your heart rate and your brain waves synchronize. So that is literally coherence. It's measurable, it's real, it's magnetic. And then as you're breathing out, allow your focus to soften. Narrow focus is, again, that survival mode. That's it. Soft focus is expansive. Everything is possible. It's for receiving. So think of your intuition as like your Wi-Fi connection to the higher field. Your breath is like the router, and your coherence is the password. So that is pretty much all I have for you guys today. Again, this is going to be a little bit shorter because we are going to be doing the Breath Codes event later, and I'm going to be talking a lot today because I also have my breath class that is directly after the Breath Code event. So that being said, I really hope to see you guys in there. I am going to go ahead and drop the registration into the chat here. So if you are not registered, you can get registered and come live today and get the replays for the last couple days. And I guess I can't leave a comment while I'm talking. And it doesn't allow me to see the comments while I'm talking unless I'm on a different device. So Facebook is fun. I wish they would fix that at some point, but it is what it is. So that being said, breath codes are tonight at 4 p.m. Central Time. Again, if you can't come live, you can always catch the replay. I will be keeping those up for 2 weeks. And that being said, I hope you all have an amazing week. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for being in my community. Love you all. Bye now.